Hey, DBT Fairy, I've been reading about these suicide statistics and they've been kind of disheartening. Okay, what do you mean? Can you elaborate for me? Yeah, I'm just really frightened by all the markers that I kind of hit for this group of people. Okay, that sounds kind of challenging. What group of people are you referring to? I'm a little embarrassed to say. This is a judgment-free zone. You are safe. If you'd like to share, you can. If not, no worries. Okay, the group I'm referring to is men. Okay, if you feel comfortable, can you give me a little more detail as to what you mean specifically? What is it about being a part of a group of men that makes you at risk and worried about these behaviors? Truthfully, there's just so much shit going on. It's really challenging to say, hey, I'm a white passing male who needs help because of my really dangerous previous behaviors. And this month just has me thinking about the statistics a lot. I see, I see. Are you worried that if we validate your pain and your suffering, that you're taking away from the pain and suffering of maybe more marginalized groups? Yeah, exactly. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Question. Is it possible that actually these marginalized groups that you are trying to be mindful of might actually have some really helpful things to say about what you're talking about? What do you mean? Well, the most recent up-to-date data we have for these statistics is from 2022, and men died 3.85 times more by suicide than women that year. And white males or white passing males accounted for 68.46% of those deaths. And of those deaths, firearms were the cause for 54.64% of those. And there are a lot of reasons and factors as to why this pandemic essentially is happening for this group. And when I said earlier about what marginalized groups might bring to the table is that there are a lot of marginalized groups that have been pointing out the reasons and a lot of the whys as to why this is happening. Okay, so instead of hiding and being ashamed of my suffering, asking for help actually might lead to more collaboration. I actually might get more information from these groups if I'm not so scared to say, hey, I need help. Yes, remember, we can still be dialectical even with this. It can be true. Two things that seem opposite. You're suffering and there are other people who are suffering too. It might look different, and I think what can be helpful is if we work together. These groups that you are understandably trying to be mindful of and not take spotlight from have been saying some really valuable things about what we can do to limit this pandemic that's happening to these groups of people that you're worried about. So validating my pain doesn't invalidate theirs? No, it doesn't. And we can be dialectical about this. I'm not saying that there is one that's more important than the other. There are groups that need more support than, say, white males. And white males still need support in this specific area. And marginalized groups have been saying ways to do that. There are a lot of great authors and books from people of color, women, or other marginalized communities that have given specific solutions to some of the problems facing these groups of people. So the pandemic of white men taking their own lives and the fear that I've been talking about surrounding these statistics can actually be validated and then supported by these groups without invalidating their pain in the process? Yeah, in fact, I think if more white men or white passing men who are suffering in this way were open and honest about how constricted they feel in our current gendered context, we might all find out that we have the same grievances and could come together and heal more holistically instead of drawing lines in the sand and saying, my fear and my invalidation is more important than your fear and your invalidation. We can validate both and help each other along the way. Is that realistic, though, given our current cultural context? I remain optimistic that we as humans can still change and evolve, and here in the States, we can still change and evolve. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect or overnight. I'm saying that conversations like these can help us get there. Okay, well, thank you for talking to me. I feel a lot less alone. You are far from alone. Thank you for asking for help. Let's do this together.